Hi. We are going to be using the Om symbol as part of our inspiration today. If you've ever been to a yoga class, or even if you've seen it amongst pop culture in movies or commercials, you may have heard that sound or syllable of Om. And in modern times it's spelled O-M, but it's actually A-U-M. Here is one of the depictions of the symbol. We usually have this sitting on the altar at the studio, but we also have this brass one. We have one in the lobby, and we also have one hanging over the half moon at the front of the studio. If you are to look at this symbol, it is said that you shouldn't chant the mantra unless you know what it means or what it represents. So in the sutras, it mentions that it is a symbol and the sound of God, or oftentimes you'll hear it referred to as being the sound of the universe, or the prana or life force that flows through everything and everyone that gives life. This upper curve here represents a deep state of sleep, kind of the unconscious state. This curve over here represents the dream state, where it's more of a waking point of the unconscious. The bottom curve represents the wakened state of consciousness. And this little crescent moon here in the upper right-hand corner represents the veil of illusion, or that idea or feeling of being separate than the ultimate state of consciousness, which is represented by this bindi at the top. This is the purest state. So it's an illusion that we are separate from pure positive potentiality, as Deepak Chopra would say. So since we're going to chant Om today, I thought I would mention some of that representation, some of its symbology. You'll see it on a lot of yoga stuff. I even have it on my shirt here. I even have it tattooed on my head. We are also going to be bringing in the singing bowl today, which is the sound for the sixth chakra, and Om is representative of this energy point. We're going to be using a chair, and it's going to be a gentle practice, so it should be good for all levels. Just a disclaimer that you should always check with your doctor first before doing any of these physical exercises. And I'm going to go ahead and play or strike this bowl so that you hear the sound that resonates with the sixth chakra. The mantra for this is Om. Strike with that bell tone, we'll begin the practice. Sit up nice and tall at the edge of a chair with your feet grounded on the earth. Feel free to place your hands in a mudra. Take the time to sit and close the eyes and to hone in upon your own personal breath. What brings the life force in, what allows us to receive energy, what allows us to receive information and ideas, what nurtures the mind, the body, and the soul. So I mentioned the correct spelling is A-U-M. So there's a, involved. So we're going to begin just chanting Om. Take a deep breath in. Om. sound of the mantra, the vibration, and if you sung it aloud, you may even feel the tingling in the lips. You may have felt some vibration in your core, even the seat of your pelvis. And maybe even felt the frequency rising up into the heart, all the way towards the mind's eye. And it completes itself with silence. Let's sit for a moment in silence and breathe. Gently begin to peel the lids of the eyes open. Place your hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer position at your heart. As you inhale, sweep the arms out and up overhead. And then as you exhale, begin to gently pour over your lap, maybe even threading the arms just below the thighs. Inhale, hug that belly in as you sit tall, reaching the arms up overhead. And then exhale, rolling back down, threading the arms beneath the legs. Once more, inhale, reaching the arms skyward, and then exhale, coming towards this seated form of child's pose. On your next inhale, reach the arms up overhead, lace your fingers together, and maybe flip the palms up in the air. On your next exhalation, gently curve over to one side of the body, forming a crescent moon shape with the upper body. Inhale, rise up to the top, and then exhale, curve to the other side. Inhale, rise all the way back to the top, and exhale, sweep the arms now down alongside your body, gripping a hold of one of the legs of the chair or the seat. Inhale, sweep the left arm skyward. Exhale, maybe slide the right hand down the leg of the chair, or just maintain that hold at the edge of the seat. Go ahead and cup a hold of the back side of your head with your hand. Roll that left shoulder back. Jut the elbows skyward. Pivot open from your heart center. And take another deep breath in and out through the nose. And maybe reciting an inner Om on your exhalation. Next in-breath, reach both arms up in the air, and then on your exhalation, release the left hand down to the leg or again to the seat. Curve over to that side of the body, rolling the pinky downward, pausing here for a moment, just to open up the breath of life. Maybe cupping a hold of the occiput beneath the skull, rolling the shoulder back, jutting the right elbow skyward, peeling the heart open, maybe gazing up with your eyes, a full breath in and out through your nose. Inhale, rise back up to the top, but exhale, relax your hands comfortably down to your lap. Make sure you're lifting up out of your waistline, lifting up through the top of the sternum, and then exhale, slightly draw the chin in towards your throat, and turn your gaze over to the left side. Inhale, rotate the head to center. Exhale, turn the head to the right. Inhale, bring the head to center. Exhale, drop the left ear in the direction of the shoulder. Pause there, and maybe begin to tilt the chin upward. If the chin is lifting upward, maybe lift your drishti. As you exhale gently and slowly, begin to tilt the chin down towards your chest. Maybe finding a particular nook or cranny that is calling for more attention. Pausing in that sweet spot where you feel the need to hold and to work any tension out. Inhale, bring the head back upright. Exhale, gently tilt the right ear down towards the shoulder. And then slowly begin to elevate your chin. Lift your gaze up in the air. And maybe slowly tilting the chin downward. pausing anywhere along the way where you feel an area that may need to unravel. And inhale, bring the head back to center. Exhale, tilt the chin almost down towards the chest. Imagine you have a Sharpie coming out through the crown of the head, and you're going to make the sign of infinity. So that dot, that bindi at the top, represents that pure state of consciousness, which is infinite. And the idea of yoga and meditation is to reduce any blockages, reduce any state of illusion that allows us to see more clearly. The whole process is meant to wake us up and to recognize that we have always been connected. And gently build the head back to center. Take a moment to pause. Allow the hands to just kind of dangle alongside your body. And then open the eyes and start to roll the wrist. And as you roll and rotate the wrist, you're slowly going to sail the arms up in the air. Right? Simple, gentle movements. And then on the exhalation, reverse that motion. Slowly fan the arms back down. And remember, as you continue to breathe through this practice, you can recite audibly or have an internal Om. And then extend your left arm out. Turn the fingers down, and your right hand's going to slide down to pull back gently on the forefingers. That's really going to open up the wrist and the carpal tunnel area that travels up through the forearm. Occasionally, I like to recommend books, and if you have ever perhaps heard of Proof of Heaven, I know this doctor actually got a lot of interviews soon after his book was released. And he was either a brain surgeon, neuroscientist, something like that, based out of North Carolina. And he was an adopted child that grew up wanting to emulate his adoptive father, who was also in this field. And we're going to switch sides. He developed some sort of unusual, maybe it was meningitis, I may be wrong about that, but he found himself in a coma in the same hospital that he practiced at. And so the whole book is about his experience and how he used to doubt when some of his patients would come back from a coma and some of the experiences they had. He just thought perhaps it was hallucinations or the drugs, and he realized when he came back that that was not the case. Due to the type of meningitis he had and the effect that it had upon his particular brain, he said he should not have had hallucinations, but yet he had this amazing imagery. Rest with your palms open on your lap for a moment and just feel the effect. And then you're going to start to roll the shoulders up towards the ears and then rotate them down and back. And just continue with this simple movement in your shoulders. Rolling them up on the in-breath and down and back on the out-breath. So anyway, part of his vision when he was in this coma was visiting heaven. He talked about it having these huge butterflies, beautiful colorations, and he said in this heaven, he continuously heard the sound of Om. And they say that they have even picked this sound up from the universe. And it's even something, if you close off your ear and really tune in and listen, you can hear that hum that represents Om. All right, from here we're going to do a few cat-cows. So your hands can come to reside on your knees As you inhale, the shoulders are going to roll back, the chest and the chin are going to jut upward. And as you exhale, you're going to scoop in through the belly and you're going to round back and bow the head towards the heart. And then you're just going to move back and forth, creating your back bend, your heart opener on the inhale, and reversing that flexion through the spine on the exhale. Move in sync with your breath if possible. And then gently come back up to sit. Just take a quick moment to pause, flipping the palms open, closing the eyes, and just noticing if you feel more blood flow or more of that percolation of energy that you're awakening and generating from the subtle and some dynamic movement. As you begin to open the eyes, we're going to take the arms to the sides. And when you take the arms to the sides, you're going to circle the right arm up underneath the left. The back of the hands may or may not come together. If they can continue to intertwine, you can take it here. Now I want you to plug your feet down into the floor. I'm using a blanket because I'm petite, and it helps to bring the knees in line with my hips. You can also do that from home. Zip up through your midriff, lift the arms just a slight distance more towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, hinge forward like we did earlier, but keeping the spine nice and long. Don't feel like you have to go very far. Inhale, rock back up to the top, and then exhale, gently hinge forward and down. We're going to do one more. Inhale, building up, and then exhale, taking it forward. Inhale right back to the top, release the threading of the arms, and then you're going to swoop the left arm beneath and maybe pushing the hands more together or intertwining like so. Keeping the upper arms parallel to the earth, crown of the head rising upward, zipping up through your midriff, and then exhale, keeping that firm core as you fold forward. Inhale, rise back to the top, and then exhale, pour back down. Just one more. Inhale, lifting up, and exhale, folding back in. On your next inhale, rise back up to the top, and then exhale, gently release. Take a moment to pause, close your eyes. And as you breathe, audibly recite Om as you breathe out, or the internal Om. A mantra is said to be an instrument of the mind to break us away from our ordinary negative or habitual thoughts. It's reprogramming it with something uplifting and positive and with a higher vibration. So you're sitting towards the edge of your chair at this point, but I want you to start to pivot your body so that you're turning to the side, and I may not be mirroring you. But I'm going to have my left thigh resting on the chair, and you can do the same. We're going to take the right foot and step it back behind us, and you can hold on to the back of the chair so that you have some balance. I would suggest pushing down through the left foot and also kind of digging the right toes into the floor and lightly powering back through the heel. If you want to maintain some length in the spine, you can always take your free hand and lift it up as if you were doing a half lunge. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale. Untuck the toes. Stand on the top of the foot. And then hold the seat of the chair, the back of the chair. Extend the right leg back. And you may have to lean forward to first pivot the right foot back behind you. But then take both hands to the hips if possible. Draw up so that the spine is becoming more vertical. You can always lift in and up through the abdominals. That's going to slightly rock the tailbone to face downward. It's not tucked, however, and you're going to feel that iliopsoas muscle get a nice deep stretch and opening. Now you can always let go with that zipping up action so that you're sitting more on the chair, but notice when I really plug my feet down and activate the muscular way, I'm slightly starting to lift off the chair. And gently release. Take your hands to the seat, and you're going to turn your right foot and plant it down to the floor. Notice how it's fairly parallel to the opposite end of the mat. You want to keep the hips opening, the thighs externally rotating. Notice if you're leaning forward from your waist. Try to create some equanimity through your side body. Pick up through the navel, through the heart center. Extend both arms off to the sides for warrior two. The chair makes it look easy, but it's not always easy. It can be fairly dynamic. You can put as little or as much into this as you desire. We're going to bring in the affirmation for warrior two. I joyfully manifest the power of my inner strength. I joyfully manifest the power of my own inner strength. Release the hands down. Once you release the hands down, we're going to bring the legs back to center. But we're going to separate the feet nice and wide. You're going to take a lift through your chest, and you're going to exhale, come down to prop the elbows on the knees. Now this may be as far as you want to go. I mean, just consider whether or not you've had vertigo, or if you have the tendency to get vertigo. If you have that tendency, it's not always the best idea to spill the head lower than the heart. So in this situation, this might be your best option. You might be able to sink the fingertips to the floor and still keep the head fairly even with the heart so that you don't get that effect from the inner ear. Some of you may want to bow all the way down to get more of an inversion of allowing the head to drip lower than the heart. Let everything kind of loosen up here through the upper body. You can even flip the hands open. One more deep breath. And then on your next inhale, stack back onto your hands. Elongate the spine. Come up nice and slow so you're not lightheaded or dizzy. Maybe bringing the elbows back to the knees. And then the hands can prop to the legs so you can slowly back up. We'll try that to the other side. So we're now going to pivot and turn the body the opposite direction. It's okay if you go off your mat. Ancient yogis didn't even have these mats. So your right thigh is resting on the chair. Your seat's kind of hanging off. And we're going to tuck the left toes under. We're going to hold the back side of the chair with one hand, and the free hand can lift up. Exhale, Om it down. Om. You can even untuck the toes, letting this leg just hang. And then from here, we're going to step the left foot farther back. We're going to be on the ball of the foot, picking up to the back thigh bone, pushing back to the calf and heel, plug down through the front foot, square off through the hips. And maybe see if you can sail the arms up like you would in crescent lunge. You can draw up through the pelvic floor, in and up to the navel center with your root lock and your belly lock. That gives you a little bit more action. It'll help you to build more heat, more strength without it being too fired up. And then let's exhale, bring the hands down. Once you kind of rest your weight back on the chair, take your time turning and planting the left foot. Remember, you don't want to be plopped back in the seat. You want to be forward right at the edge. Once you turn the back foot down, make sure that you're planting the entire sole of the foot. Your hips are splaying open, your thighs are widening. Notice if your waistline wants to rock forward, extend it upward, extend your arms, breathe. Affirm, I joyfully manifest the power of my own inner strength. The Ananda affirmation for that pose is, I joyfully manifest the power of God, what Om represents. Release the arms down, slide that back foot in, turn to face the front. When you turn to face the front, come back to sit tall for a moment. Just a short, quick little pause. And then open up the eyes. All right, I'm going to move this blanket because I'm going to use it in a little bit. We're going to stand up at this point from the chair. And I want the seat of the chair to now face you. We're just going to do a little bit more of a warm-up here. If you stand back away from the chair, I don't know, maybe about a ruler's distance, bring your hands to Namaste at the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead, and then exhale, fold, and place your hands right to the seat of the chair. And instead of sending your sits bones too far back, see if you can line up right over your ankles. And if you're dipping through your belly, see if you can suction the belly in so that you're shrink wrapping the low back. From here, we're going to step the feet back like we would in plank. And then exhale, push back away from the chair as if you're doing a downward facing dog. Now really sink down through your heels. Roll your thighs in and power them back. Draw up through your navel. Open up the pit of the arms. On your next inhale, we're going to step the left foot forward and to the outside of the leg of the chair. We're going to keep that front thigh bone lengthening. And then we're going to sink the forearms down to the seat. So it's kind of like a lizard pose. It's a good little hip opener here, but it's not terribly intense. A few more breaths. Now begin to stack back onto your hands and release the left foot back. Ground through the soles of the feet. Operate into your downward facing dog. Notice this inversion is not as deep as doing it the regular way, but it's still so good. Step your right foot to the outside of the leg of the chair. Lunge that knee, lengthen through both thigh bones, and then prop onto the seat. Now instead of letting the knee wing out, you're drawing it in so it's maintaining its alignment over that front ankle. The next time you breathe in, step the hands back, right foot steps back, reform your version of downward facing dog from the chair. Take some deep breaths in and out through your nose. And on your next inhalation, step your left foot forward and slightly turn your right heel in, toes out. Roll the right hip forward towards the chair. Lengthen through the shaft of the spine. Take the hands to the back side of the chair. And this may be plenty. This is a lot already. Some of you may want to see if you can dip a little lower. And then from here, slide your left hand back, and you're going to turn the right foot open. Once you turn the right foot open, your right hand is going to cross up underneath your side waist. You're going to roll open through your upper body. Roll the left shoulder back towards your chest, and then shine the right hand skyward. Trikonasana, triangle pose. From triangle pose, bring the right hand down, slide your left foot back, and then slowly begin to pick up your right leg. Your right hand can hold the back of the chair. You're going to roll open through the right hip. So you can stay here and just practice rolling the hip down and rolling the hip open. Notice the foot will also turn with this action. The hips are square, the toes point down. When the hip spins open, the foot rolls out into the room. If that's too much, just stick to one or the other. But if you find this chair has a cushion to it, it was a bad choice. I should have gotten the one that was just a steel chair. But you can also use a wood chair from home. And you don't have to fly this right arm skyward, but this is half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. The main thing you want to consider is making sure that standing foot does not pivot or turn. All right, when you land the right foot back down, I want you to fold forward and maybe set the brow to the edge of the chair. You may be able to hang the arms. If that's too much pressure on the head, you don't have to go there. You could even be, again, here, like we've been showing in other postures. All right, let's go ahead and stack back onto the hands, and then step the feet back like you would in plank. Push back to downward facing dog, or at least this variation. Inhale, the right foot's gonna step forward. Your left heel is gonna slowly shift down to the mat. You're gonna push down and pedal down through the right foot to straighten out the leg, driving the right hip back. The left hip is gonna crank forward a bit towards the chair. All right, the hands can rest on the back side. You're looking forward and out. Some people like to go a little lower like this. You may even want to be here. It's all good either way. Inner Om as you breathe out. Bringing that reverence into the practice. And now slowly begin to stack back onto your hands. We're going to move towards that Ardha Chandrasana, so the right foot's going to slide back. We're going to balance and stack on the right limbs. And then we're going to practice just turning open from the hip and then rolling down from the hip. Rolling open, tipping it back down. One more. Now this time you can stay here, or maybe free up the left arm. Affirming as I move through life, I choose to stay anchored in myself. Bring the hand down and the foot down. We're going to see if we can lift the heels. Lift the heels, draw in through the core. Maybe take the arms to the back of the chair for a version of chair pose. And taking the hands back to the seat, just cautiously begin to lower down to your knees. We're going to use this blanket, except instead of having it in a long fold, we're going to have it in a short fold. We're going to come sit on the edge of it. We're going to take the left leg and shoot it up underneath the base of the chair. The right foot's going to rest to the inner part of the left leg. If you need more propping for the hip or the knee, you can add a block or a blanket toss pillow below. Now as you inhale, lift up energetically. Go ahead and float your arms up overhead. Flex that front foot. Exhale, hinge forward. You might want to grab the side of the chair, lifting the heart up towards the seat. So you can stay active this way, or you can slide the hands down and perhaps rest the forehead here. Now you can also, if you're tighter through the hamstrings, you can always bring the chair closer, prop the arms up like this, or bow the head like this. If you have additional flexibility, you can slide the chair further out so that as you fold, you're going lower towards the floor. We're going to find a position that works well for you. Take your time to experiment. And then rest and breathe. If your mind wants to stray away, practice that inner Om on your exhalations. And then inhale, let's slowly rise. Your hands can always come back to the seat. Lift the right knee up, slide the right leg under. Open up from the left hip, Janu Shirshasana. Flex that right ankle. Again, if you need any additional support, you can add it beneath the left knee. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, maybe gripping the sides of the chair. Choosing to be active here. Bringing the chair more forward if you're tighter, further away if you're more open. Maybe resting the brow if you want it to be a little bit more relaxed. Stay on the edge of your blanket, extend both legs out. I know this can be a lot, but we've been kind of warming up for this Konasana. So lift the arms up overhead, exhale, hinge forward. You may not be able to go very far. Notice how the feet want to roll in or out. Because we're being active, you want the head of the knees to stay pointed upward, the toes to stay pointed upward. And then you can determine here how you would like to use the chair. Do you want it to be active? Would you prefer it to be passive? And I think what I want today is to stack the arms on top. Slow, deep breaths with that inner Om on the out breath. That can start to get a little intense, so we're going to gently come out. You can slide the legs or push them back together with your hands. And we're going to do one more active one here on the floor. So if you come down to your belly, And think about maybe taking your hands to hold the back legs of the chair. You can think about lifting up into locust. You can even take it a little bit higher if you choose. I like it better here. Breathe. And release the legs and the feet. Release comfortably to the floor, resting on one cheek. Turning to rest to the other cheek. Sliding the hands in. Watch your head when you come up. Slowly come to tabletop position. Now make sure you're away from the chair for this. Stack onto hands and knees. We're going to end with a twist. So plug the belly in. Flip the left palm open. Thread it underneath the right arm. Sink down gently to the floor. Breathe into the back side of your heart. Inhale, press through the right hand. Rise back to all fours. Right arm threads under this time. Try to stop the hips from leaning to one side or the other. Instead, keep the thighs more perpendicular to the floor. Push through the left palm and gently come up. So now that we have finished with our active practice, I want you to take one of the variations of instant Maui. Legs resting on the chair, hands pointed away from the body. And if you can remember what the symbol of Om looked like, you can draw it or trace it in your mind's eye. You can set it ablaze, like it's a sign that's lit up at night. Plant this seed, this mantra that represents the sixth chakra, not only in your third eye, but you can repeat it silently within to bring that impression into your heart. Stay in Shavasana. Continue to recite that inner Om as you breathe out. And I'm going to allow you to hear the sound of the singing bowl. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let there be peace, peace, everlasting peace.